Good morning, everyone. How are you all doing? It is Thursday, the 25th of August. It is 16 degrees out there. ILP Worldwide has just become a member. Hello, ILP Worldwide. What does ILP stand for? You might have to call in and let me know. What was that? It was 16 degrees and it was $1.66.9 per every litre that you sniff. Boy, have we got a good day here today. I've been doing nothing but laughing the whole time, and I'm so glad I'm here with my favourite guest. My favourite guest, everyone that comes here is my favourite guest. I've got so many things going. I've got coffee going. I've got waffles going. Look at this. I've got waffles sitting on the table here. But we have to introduce you to my favourite guest, my only guest for the whole year, Sally Foley Lewis. Hello, Sally. How you doing?
Gerald, your only guest, your favourite guest. You're a crack up.
I'm a crack up. Do you know why this show is even here? Like why we do this show?
I got a faint clue that it's got something to do with your father. And I have...
The great man himself.
Yeah, and if it is, then I've got a lot of questions for that man.
Do you? Like
Actually,
what?
no, I've got one big question.
Right.
Why?
Ah, Rudy, what's your why? He was drunk.
Not his why. His why about you.
Oh, why me? Yes, he was drunk. I think he might have been drunk, which is unusual for him. He doesn't normally get plastered. Sally, I've got so many questions. Do you know, you brought the waffles because you heard this was waffles and whiskey?
Yeah.
So if you brought the waffles, I got the whiskey.
Bring it on.
Are you really? Are you? Because the last person that said bring it on, so you got a yes or a no button. Here's what happens. All right. Now, this was a present that I got from Dane Anderson for my birthday last weekend. So, hey, if you're saying yes to this, don't get up. I will shout you. I will come over.
Okay, hang on a second. Was it your birthday last weekend?
Last weekend.
Oh.
Hang on to that one there.
How old were you last weekend?
I was, I think, 61. You tell me when.
Oh, when? When?
When? No, just a little one. Hold it there.
I'm holding.
Don't do anything with that yet, because I can't wait to get into my waffle.
Oh.
Hang on, let me pull this one
Now,
here.
I watched you get given some advice about holding the glass at 8 inches and then sniffing it, and
People don't know anything.
then it looked like your face blew off a bit.
Did it?
So I just wondered if it was actually a nicer way, because I apologise to whiskey drinkers out there. I have no clue what I'm doing, but I wondered if it was something we should do.
Have you ever? Do you drink whiskey?
No.
Is this
hang
your
on.
first?
Hang on.
Is this your really? Is this your first whiskey ever?
No, it's not my first whiskey ever.
You're a virgin.
No, no. But you know how we all have one spirit that we will never drink ever again?
Is this it? Really?
Yeah, this was the teenage devil.
Well, I think the difference is that if you probably had crap whiskey and it makes you really sick. When you have good whiskey...
We'll go with that.
We'll go with that. Okay. So before we do, we have to cheers the great man, so I'll bring him up here. Cheers, Rudy. Where is he? There he is. Cheers, mate.
Cheers. Oh, here we go.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, I've snorted already.
Did you just snort?
Oh.
Is that good? No, come on. Just savour
Okay,
it.
I'll do it properly now.
But tell me what it tastes like. Like, it's hard for some people because they just go, oh, yeah. Tell me what it tastes like. What is it?
There's a burn, and then there's something there's aftertaste. There's layers, because I do like my wine.
Yeah.
And so I have a little bit of an appreciation, and now there's
something in there.
There's something in there, a bit smoky, a bit. It's the malt, isn't it?
It is.
It is the malt.
It's a single malt.
Do I sound like I know what I'm talking about?
You don't sound like you know anything, in fact.
Okay, good. Because I don't know anything.
It's going to be so much fun here because I think I'm confused. You're Sally Foley Lewis.
Yes, sir.
So Foley Lewis is your husband's name.
Foley that's all his fault.
No, but Foley is you and Lewis is him.
Nope, he's Foley Lewis.
So he's Foley Lewis.
Yes, I blame it 100% on him.
So your name, your maiden name?
Armstrong.
Sally Armstrong.
Sally
You
Ann.
sound like a swimmer.
Do I?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Ladies and gentlemen.
And coming in for the first tap on the turn is Sally Armstrong. Going for gold. Okay, that's enough whiskey.
Yeah. So Sally Armstrong got married, so now he owns you.
Well,
Because you took his name. Isn't that the
did.
whole thing? Isn't
well, it's funny actually because when we lived in the Middle East, on certain forms there would be my name, and crammed right in the middle is Martin's name.
Yeah.
So because I'm on his sponsorship, and
Yeah.
even my nieces, they had to have like their first name, their father's full name, and then last name. So I would be, Sally Martin Gavin Foley Lewis. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Here's what you don't know. Today I went all out. People that watch this show regularly know I always wear a black T-shirt or a black skivvy or a black skivvy. Nobody wears skivvies. What the hell's a skivvy?
I know. It's you
What
just
is a
went back to
skivvy?
when you were 7
What
and
is a
Mum made
skivvy?
you wear a skivvy, right?
What is a skivvy though?
Skivvy's the thing with the turtleneck.
A turtleneck.
And the ugly thing. I think I've got a primary school photo, a preschool photo of me in a yellow skivvy.
In a yellow, you got to show that. See,
It's a
cute.
treat. It's a cracker.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
you look
no.
like a canary, something like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So everyone knows that I wear my favourite, black, because black's my colour. Everything in here is black. Waffles and Whiskey is black. My screen's black. My humour's black. Everything is black.
Like your soul.
But I wore my favourite Mr. Ballon.
The Ballon.
Yeah, Mr. Ballon shirt. Do you know who
Ooh.
Mr. Ballon is?
Married to Mrs. Ballon.
Yeah, but you don't know Mr. Ballon. So are you not a fan of the strange, dark, and mysterious?
Keep going.
So Mr. Ballon does a YouTube channel. It's called Strange Dark. Here, maybe I'll do this. I've got this ready. So he looks a little bit like that.
Okay.
So this is what he looks like, but a lot younger and with a lot more hair and a lot gorgeouser looking. So Mr. Ballon,
okay.
yeah, Mr. Ballon will get on and says, if you're a fan of the strange, dark, and mysterious, the first thing you have to do is that you might have to, and he pushes a like button. And he says you have to get that like button, pour whiskey over the top of it, and make sure that everyone that drinks whiskey never puts ice into their whiskey glass.
Oh.
So, and then he talks about the strange, dark, and mysterious. Never heard of him.
Never heard of him. Sorry, Mr. Ballon.
I've just introduced you to a new program.
Thank you.
Yeah. I want to know more about... Enough drinking. Do you want a coffee?
Yes, please.
Really?
I think so.
Hang on. So where's your cup?
I'm Mr. Mischievous.
Mr.
Mischief.
I feel like I'm being a great guest here.
Host.
Oh, host. Sorry.
You're the hosty with the mosty.
There we go. Tell me when.
Love. Oh, when's fine.
Oh, when's
Sorry,
fine.
when's fine. When's good.
When is good.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
I want to know more about...
Yes.
I want to know more about this whole Leadership Academy thing that you do, and then we can get into the waffles and a bit of fun.
Sure.
Well, what's this Leadership Academy? I went onto your website and I had a look at your emotional video that you did when you grabbed a prize for winning, what is it, the...
Breakthrough Speaker of the Year.
Yeah, Breakthrough Speaker of the Year.
Yeah, that was the same weekend that we were all told to go home. Thank you very much, COVID pandemic. So here I am, Professional Speakers Australia, annual convention, and the pandemic hits and we're all told to go home, and you just watch you watch an auditorium of professional speakers just scurry like the lights have gone on, because all their work's just disappeared. So, and of course, the irony of it, I get awarded Breakthrough Speaker of the Year, and I sort of get on stage and go, there goes all my work.
Yeah.
Such is life. But yeah, so I was awarded Breakthrough Speaker of the Year.
I love that video because it was
thank
it really. Oh, there he is. The little old man came on again. He sometimes comes on, sneaks in, and has a little whiskey while we're doing stuff. But I want to go way back because I think when people grow up, it's like I look at Robert Irwin, the great Steve Irwin's son, and Bindi Irwin. They grew up in that environment where they now are crocodile hunters themselves. Did you grow up in a family of leaders?
Not in the traditional sense, no.
So how was your upbringing? What makes you go from, I'm Sally Armstrong, Olympic swimmer...
Olympic swimmer. People going to go, was she really an Olympic swimmer?
We'll just go with that. She was an Olympic swimmer. I know you don't think so, but she was. So you go from Sally Armstrong up school prefect?
Let's not get too carried away. I achieved a few things at school.
Okay.
Yep.
So, okay, not even a school prefect, because I wasn't. I was dunce of the school.
So, okay, my first influential leadership experience was actually in primary school when in grade 4, we all started to realise that the 5s, 6s and 7s were going to go on a school camp. So we started to get excited. Then the next year, the budget got cut and only the 6s and 7s went. And then the next year, only the 7s went. And so we got ripped off year after year after year. By the time we got to grade 7, it's an all-out protest. And so Mr. Alan Nolan, probably my all-time favourite teacher ever, even put a tribute to him in my first book.
Wow.
He said, if you want to do something about it, then do something about it. So we organised and planned and put together our own school camp in the school grounds for one night, but at least we got to have the camp. And so he empowered us to do that. We also, my mum remembers this. I don't remember this, but she reckons that I was the one that instigated a school protest on the quality of toilet paper. Because that stuff well, I do remember the toilet paper being absolutely disgustingly horrible, but I don't remember being the instigator of a protest. But chances are, I know what I'm like. It might have been me.
So toilet paper, okay. And not to get too personal, but you used my toilet here today. My toilet.
Beautiful.
And did you see my toilet rolls?
Yes. I know the brand.
Do you know the brand?
I know the brand.
We won't mention it here because I don't get any sponsorship from them, so we won't mention it here.
But they are sustainable and a good quality brand. So.
I'm very much into sustainable and quality because the climate is important.
Yes, it is.
Do you believe all that?
I do.
Do you? Tell me more about it.
Well, just yesterday, I sat and listened to the chief, he doesn't call himself CEO, Chief Executive Officer, Chief Something Officer, Stephen Tate for Mullaney Dairies, and he's talking about sustainability. And so that was really kind of cool, and it's got me thinking again, time to go back into my business and review and think about, well, what is it that I could still cull back, settle down, think about when it comes to what I'm doing to reuse or recycle or reduce. So I really like that.
Do you know Dan Hill? Dan Hill, ILP, I think an ILP member.
I think so.
Dr. Dan Hill. Yeah, he sat in the chair, in the magic chair.
Yeah.
He has a Tesla. Tell me you don't have a Tesla.
We don't have a Tesla.
Do you think this is a good idea going from petrol, gas, moving across? You're looking at me as if to say, don't ask me this question.
Well, it sounds like it's going to be a leading question.
It's very leading. Do you think it's a good idea? Well, it's probably
I've met
not.
you.
Sorry, yes. Do you think it's a good idea that we're going from petrol, gas, and we're going to get rid of as much petrol and gas and fossil fuels and all that rubbish that we've been using and that beautiful black coal that turns into diamonds? We're now moving to electricity and electric cars. Do you think it's a good idea?
I'm in two minds on this because I'm not educated enough around this. So taking on board what I've been told, and I'm not necessarily saying that it's a fact, but it's information to take in, and then I need to do my own research. So don't write in and kill me for that. But but the guy yesterday at this event, I was sitting across from the manager from Lamborghini, and he was saying that Lamborghini are probably one of the most responsible brands because the cars last longer. They don't get smashed up as much. They don't, or blah, 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 blah. All these different components that he was going on about make it as competitive on a sustainability track. The other thing that I've heard, and again, I don't know if this is true, but it's worth exploring, is the cost to the environment to make a Tesla compared to the cost to the environment to make a traditional car. Something worth looking at, something worth at least asking that question and going down that rabbit hole if you're so inclined.
I remember a speech given by the now Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, who I call anal, because it's, ScoMo, Scott Morrison, Anthony Albanese. Don't smile when I say that. But I remember a speech that he was giving. He says, the future is now, where we can drive our Tesla up to our home and we can plug it in and your car will charge overnight through the solar panels. You're right. Because they're lunar panels or solar panels. See, it doesn't make sense to me. A lot of things don't make sense because I'm a rational logic sort of a person. That's how I operate. Now I need... Yes!
You shouldn't have given me the buttons.
I shouldn't have given you the buttons. I gave...
All the power.
I don't know who else I gave the power. When I had another guest sitting in the chair, I gave her the whole screen here and mucked up the whole program.
Yeah, you don't want to give me the screen.
More on leadership.
Yes, sir.
Your big thing is multitasking is no such thing, but you call it multi-switching?
So we do switching. I don't call it this. This is people smarter than me, and I'm just curating and agreeing where we're not actually multitasking. What we're doing is we're switching very quickly between one thing and another. And so what we end up doing is wasting time and causing a lot of fatigue because we switch from one thing to other physically and mentally. If I'm working on this task right now, even if it's just at a desk, and then I'd switch over to this thing because I've been distracted or something happens, then I've got to change my thinking about this task to now this task. And we can really impact our productivity in a very negative way if we're doing multitasking or switching on high-level thinking important work. I stand by permission to multitask when we're talking about watching TV, doing the ironing and having a glass of red wine. That, I think, is a whole other game.
Is that multitasking or is that just a talent? Ooh. But have a look at what I'm doing here today. Like, have a look at this. So would you consider this multitasking? I've got a keyboard, I've got the chats coming up here, I've got this going there, I've got you sitting, making sure that you're comfortable and everything. Is this multitasking or am I manic? Oh, speaking, hang on 1 second. We saw something that came up, and I don't think we're going to put it up a little bit later. Anyway, somebody, see, this is my ADD going. Did you know I've got ADD, don't you?
Yes. Yeah,
you can tell now. See, now I've lost my train of thought.
So you want to know whether you're multitasking,
am I multitasking,
or we're going to do the other thing?
No. Am I a multitasker or a multi-switcher?
I think the answer's in the question there, Gerald. So yes, you are. But then here's the thing: you've got to ask yourself, is this detracting from what I'm actually trying to achieve? Now, you're trying to achieve a show and push buttons and have some fun with it and engage with everyone. So it calls for a level of that. But if you're trying to do a high-level proposal that required, you to make sure that proposal was submitted on time, then you'd be singular in your focus. So it's about making sure you're balancing that out.
Because I love the way that you said before that you get all these managers and leaders who are struggling, who are dealing with a lot of, I think, personal issues. Because, I don't know, we spoke the other day about you thinking that maybe managers and leaders should maybe lighten up a little bit.
A little bit.
Oh.
Then some.
Because in your former life, you're a CEO. We don't have to get into all that, but you know the pressures and the stresses. So did you go through burnout? Did you get... Okay, what happened there?
I've burnt out twice as an employee, and in my employee part of my career, I've burnt out twice, pretty badly. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate or?
The first one was actually in my very first job, and that boss forged my signature, and from that moment on, I felt we didn't back then. There was none of this psychological safety. That was not a phrase or anything talked about, but I felt incredibly unsafe to be there. And because I caught her out and she knew it and I knew it and we both knew it, the relationship just disintegrated and she made my life hell. And of course, I'm withdrawing. I'm not performing the way I should be. My absenteeism went up, my stress went up, and I just, from the minute I caught her, I busted her forging my signature, it was the beginning of the end, and I just burnt out from that. And
what was so important that she needed to forge your signature?
2 litres of milk.
I don't understand.
So I was away. I'm the person that had the right to sign the order forms. This is back in the day when we didn't have the intranet. We're talking old school carbon copy books, and I just carbon dated myself saying that.
Yes.
But I was the one that had to sign for it, and I was on leave, and she signed for 2 litres of milk while I was away, which makes no sense because she's got more authority than me. Could have got it down the road and claimed the few dollars back. But anyway, so yeah. But what happened for me was that if you're happy to forge a signature on 2 litres of milk, what else are you doing?
Exactly.
As my boss.
Well, maybe that person was cacodemia mania. What is that? What is that? Altair the Fourth. Thank you so much, Altair. We missed you earlier on yesterday, but here cacodemia. Cacodemia. Let's break it down.
Chocolate, demon, mania. Cacao.
Well,
Well, there's another word, caco, I was just thinking of, which is a whole other thing.
So what's mania? What's manic?
That's like when you're manic or you're frantic, isn't it?
A bit like me. Demon?
The devil.
Right. The devil.
Bad behaviour.
So it's got to be something to do with somebody that's...
Does something bad with chocolate frantically.
Frantically. Done. We're going to stay with that one there. You make it too hard. Make it harder.
Yeah, please. Make it much harder.
A lot harder. I saw a comment that came up here. I want to bring up this comment here, which said something around... Here we go. Ian McPherson. G'day, Ian. How you going? Singular focused tasking is far more efficient than task switching, or what is labelled multitasking.
Yes, sir. Yes, that's a big fact.
I said yes.
What does that mean? See, you people are way too smart for me. I'm just a simple guy wearing a Mr. Balance shirt. I have no idea what that means. No, seriously, I don't know what that means. Singular focused tasking.
Well, single focused tasking means you're focusing singularly on one thing. So let's go back to the example of if you're putting in a proposal or you've got to do a pitch for something, then you're working on that.
And
so you'll turn off your phone, you'll turn off your email, you won't even, you won't allow other distractions to come in so that you can get that done and give it all your attention. Yeah, so that's single focused.
Okay.
Versus what you're doing now, which is relevant for what you're doing now.
Right.
Okay. You're pushing buttons, you're talking to me, and you're pushing my buttons, and you're talking to me, you're drinking whiskey, pouring coffee, looking at a camera or seven, so, but that's also relevant for that. Whereas you've got to balance it out.
But can you be skilled at multitasking? Can a person...
There's about one piece of research I read, don't ask me where now because I've forgotten, but what I read was that about 2% of the population can actually effectively multitask.
2%?
2%.
Okay.
Which is interesting because I think there's about 2% of the population that are narcissistic psychopaths, so...
Right, okay, we might just skip that one, keep going. Yeah.
Just kidding.
No, I think you could be right. So they need to do a few things to be on top of things. One more mum just made a comment here. Let me just go on. One more mum says, women at that time of the month without chocolate is what caco, media, mania, demon mania means.
Oh, high five, sister.
High five. How do you know she's a sister? Did you just misgender her?
I might have.
You might have. See, one more mum, she might just identify as a mum, but she might be really a woman, a male. I've no idea. Do you like all that stuff that's going on nowadays?
I think it is... Yes, I do, actually. I just got to get out of the habit.
Of what?
I've got to get out of the habit of saying, for example, when I do MC work, I've got to get out of the habit of saying, hello, ladies and gentlemen.
Why?
Because I want to be inclusive for those who don't identify as a man or a woman. But it's a habit, and that's the thing I've got to break.
So you've said it for 100 years. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the show.
How long have I said it for?
10 years. Let's just go. Good morning, ladies. So what do you say now, though? What do you say now instead of good morning, ladies and gentlemen, welcome?
I say
hello, boys and girls.
No, I just say hello and welcome. And I don't say everyone because as a professional speaker, we want to speak to, even though you have 1,000 people in the room, you want to speak to each individual. So I don't say hello everyone. I'll just say hello and welcome to blah, blah, blah. I'm Sally Armstrong, the Olympic swimmer, and I'm so pleased that you're here with us today. Because if I say everyone, I then put them into a group. Whereas if I am speaking to an audience and I say, I just want to let you know. Yeah. Then each person goes, oh, she's talking to me. She's talking to me.
Yeah. So do you then say, good morning, everyone? No, sorry. So you go, well, how do you open then? Like as an MC?
Good morning and welcome.
Good morning and welcome. Do you then say...
Or willkommen.
Willkommen, Rudy. Do you then also say something like... my pronouns are they, them?
No.
You don't?
No.
Do you...
it's not an issue for me.
Yeah.
I'm not someone who is worried if someone says they, their, them, or she.
Yeah.
And I've been accused of being called sir many times while living in the Middle East.
They called you sir?
There's some cultures that are predominantly in the power structure is quite high. And if I'm seen as someone senior, there's this little habitual thing that comes out, yes, sir, ma'am. I get, yes, sir, ma'am. Either I'm really intimidating or it's just an accident. And it's a habit.
So your pronouns are then she, her?
Mine are, yeah.
Yeah, mine are who, where.
Who, where?
Yeah.
Okay.
Seriously. Because
Okay.
I was born visible.
Okay.
And now I'm invisible.
Right.
So it's who, where. Because I want to identify as being...
I can see you.
No. I can identify as being invisible.
Okay.
And I'm not a parent. Correct?
Me neither.
Right, I'm not a parent, but I'd like to be a parent. So I'm transitioning from being a non-parent to a parent.
Right.
So I'm transparent.
I think it's
What?
time. I think it's time for one of these.
Yeah, I think it's time for one of those too. It's got to be good, isn't it?
The first hit's the hard bit, then it's the yummy malt after.
That's what she said.
You stole the line.
I did. Well, you started
From
it this
The
morning.
Office, yes.
But I need to also allow all the good people, the bad people, the degenerates, the deplorables out there who are watching this, if they want to make a call through,
Yes.
and maybe ask anything. What would be, because some people are intrigued about leadership. Here's my take on leadership. I don't think that we have. I think we've got a lot of leaders, like our Prime Minister. I would call them a leader of a party, but they don't show leadership qualities. Would you agree with that?
I wouldn't call them a leader.
Oh, you wouldn't call them a leader?
No.
I would call them a leader because they're the no?
No, they're an
Help
MP.
me out then.
Well, I would call them an MP by their title, because to me,
Well, they're the leader of the party,
leadership is a behaviour. Leadership is what you do.
Yes.
Whereas I would call them, listen, I don't really want to go down the politics road, because I don't call many of them leaders at all. But they're MPs. They might be the president of their party or something like that.
Well, they'll be the leader of the party. And
Sure.
I think I agree with what you're saying there, is that they can be a leader in their field, but I don't think they show leadership qualities.
Not at all, some of them.
Because, I mean, you've done it like I have. You know, we've done the whole leadership development program, and I think you've got your whole leadership academy runs on all that.
Yes.
Do you talk about what those qualities are? Like, do you say, here are some great leadership qualities? Because if you have a look at who the leaders are, whether you've got, in Pakistan, in India, in Saudi, America, UK, Australia, you would have a look at them and go, if that person is a leader and they're doing leadership qualities, then maybe there is no definition of leadership. I'm being serious here, because because look at it this way. Hitler was a great leader. Mussolini was a great leader.
They achieved what they set out to achieve.
Right. We don't like what they did, but they achieved the goal. So help me out here. Define leadership.
Ooh, nice one. I think leadership is about...
You want to get a whiteboard out, don't you? And a flip chart and write it all down.
No, I want to get a group. I want to get a group together, because I actually would like, rather than having a singular definition. And I did this last week in a leadership retreat with women, and just say, well, tell me what leadership is for you. And what does it mean to you in your context and in your world?
Yeah. And do they know? Like, do they know in their world what it means?
Some of them were very clear about what it was, which is great. And it was about helping their people be the best version of themselves, helping their people be productive, being the conduit to things.
Hang on. Helping their people be the best that they want to be.
Yeah.
So, but what if I'm in there and the best that I want to be is the best multitasker? Or I want to be the best, I don't know, disruptor? Because they're my values. Would you then say, well, they're not the values that we like here at this organisation, you need to move to another organisation? But I go, hang on.
Depends.
You as the leader just said you want to help me become the best that I want to be.
I'm the type of person, and you've met me once or twice before.
Yes.
So I'd be the type of person to say, okay, if you are a disruptor, which I 100% agree with you are, how do I leverage that? How do I get the most out of this person who loves to disrupt in the right way that benefits the organisation and brings you the opportunity to shine? That's the question the leader has to ask.
Let's have a look at this comment here. Ian, g'day Ian. A leader is an individual with a job. Leadership is a skill lacked by many leaders.
Yep.
You don't have to agree. Yes. You don't have to agree with everything that these deplorables say. Some of them are drunk.
Well, that's all right.
It's even better.
Well, you're only putting up ones that I agree with so far. Put up something I disagree with.
Okay. All right. Well, here's one. Wiley E. Coyote says, changing pronouns without objective standard, language fails.
I don't even know what that means. Sorry.
Wiley,
say that again. Changing pronouns without objective standard or standards?
Standards, yeah.
Language fails. That sentence fails me. I don't quite get what that means. So there
Well,
you go. I'm not disagreeing, but I don't understand it.
I think what Wiley's trying to say there is that if you change your pronouns from, she, her, and you now want to change it to who, where, and there's no standard. If there's no objective standard where everyone agrees that this is the objective, this is the standard that we all agree on, then language fails. So if you have a look at a lot of, I guess I have a look at some people out there that are trying to say, like, we saw one yesterday, I put one up yesterday, that this young lady was calling herself God as her pronoun.
Right.
But see, and then if I think about, objective standard, she says that she wants to be known as God because sometimes she's a being and then she's not a being. Sometimes she's living and she's not living. So do you think that when you start looking at that, if there are so many genders, and we know that there's the biological sex, if there's so many genders out there, then she can't be wrong in what she's saying. So if she says, you're looking at me confused.
No, I'm not confused.
If she says to me, I want to identify as God, and if I misgender her and I go, hey, Missy, how you going? She could sue me if she lives in Canada or in Victoria now. I think it's unlawful to misgender a person. So if she says...
Intentionally or unintentionally?
Well, if I say, hey, Missy, how you going? And she says, don't call me that. My gender's a God. And
but if you didn't know that prior...
But what if I know it now? I know it now. So I know it now, and I meet her, and I go, hey, God, how you going? Isn't that disrespectful to the spiritual God, for those who believe in the God?
Well, do you believe in the God? Is it disrespectful in your context? I can appreciate it'll be disrespectful for others who do, but is it disrespectful for you? And this is where you're trying to find a box to stick it all into, and I don't think there's a box. And I get now you explaining that comment. Language fails, or does it evolve and ask for a conversation?
I'm all good for asking a conversation. Whole school in Victoria just a couple of days ago, because one little girl in there wants to identify as a cat. The whole school or the class now says we'll all identify as cats. Is there a problem with that? And I think these are good, honest conversations that we can have. Like, if I want to identify now, now I'm an adult, and I go now on the floor, or you and I will go out on the floor, and I'll go, good morning, everyone. Don't say everyone. Good morning and welcome, right? I'll say that. Hi, everyone. I identify as who, where, and I'm a cat. Do you think the audience will applaud me? Or do you think they'll just go, I didn't sign up for this? Because I think sometimes what happens is, as children, we get away with it. But that child's going to grow up.
But you've only given two options there.
God and cat.
No, two options about how they respond to you.
Yeah.
And there's going to be more people in the room who are going to probably have a whole range of questions in there. Because,
what would they have?
For example, you've just talked about the school children, and my head's just gone to, well, is it okay that they explore this different identification as children? And then, okay, I'm a little bit older, so I will admit there's a bias. I've got a ton of biases going on that are not coming out my mouth. But one of them is, they'll grow out of it. I did think that.
Yeah.
And whether that's right or wrong, it just is what I thought. And, for you choosing to identify as, what did you say, a dog?
Yeah. A cat.
A cat. So some of those people in the audience might be thinking, okay, well, that doesn't align with the demographic that I just put you in as I see you. Whereas when you talked about the children, I kind of go, oh, cool, they're having a crack at looking at different identities.
And that's not a bad thing.
No.
But what if that... Now, I'm going to take it a little step further.
Yeah.
I love the provocations here. What happens if that girl now turns around and says, I want whiskers? I want whiskers. I want to have an operation that are we having whiskey?
No, I'm having coffee now. We've gotten serious. I've got to sober up.
No. But if that girl now turns around and she says, I'm a cat, and the whole school says, yeah, you're a cat.
Yeah.
And now she turns around to mum and says to mum, I want whiskers, I want implants, and I want whiskers, and I want you to crop my ears, and you can't say no because I'm a cat. What happens now? Do we allow this girl to get whiskers?
It's got nothing to do with you. It's up to the child and the parent, especially if they're under 18.
What if the school says parent has no say in that?
What if the school says the parent has no say in that? Well, who's raising the child?
I'm with you. So what if the parent then turns around and says, great idea, let's get your whiskers?
Then yay for the cat?
Really?
Well, this is the thing. There's too many what ifs, and there's too many how abouts, and there's too many complexities to this. And you and I both, well, you're a trans parent. I'm just not a parent. I have dogs. That's as close as I got to being a parent. So I'm in no position to even understand the parenting perspective. I might have a slight clue in my head, but of course that's only from being an aunt, as I choose to identify as an aunt. But there's just too many questions. And I think it's worth having the conversation, and I think it's worth asking the questions. But to expect there to be a clear answer,
there's never going to be clear. You're with me on, though, that there's two biological sexes, male and female, but there's a range of genders.
Yeah, well, science tells us we were born one or the other, or
so we're not assigned.
Some sort of.
We're not assigned it at birth. I mean, the only reason I bring this up, I hear a lot of doctors that are now coming out saying that, we apologise for misgendering your child because we assign them male and female.
I'm so glad we're talking about children being two non-parents here.
Yes, but but isn't this good though? Is that I mean, I've been in the world long enough, and you have too, to know that there is a shift. There is, the axes have shifted a little bit, and I know we've all got to come on board with inclusion on diversity, but I also want to have the conversation that if a child says I want to have whiskers, do you not turn to that child? Somebody must turn to that child and go, you're going to grow out of this. So we're not, and I'm using the example of whiskers because there are some kids that are transitioning at 8 and 9 and 10 years of age from male to female and female to male.
Yeah.
And that's got to be harsh because now you're seeing a lot in their late 20s that are trying to detransition. And look, there was a program not that long ago on 60 Minutes, so that's mainstream media, that had shown some kids that had transitioned because mum had thought, well, if that's what they feel like, I guess if you're feeling like a boy or a girl, we should transition you and get you on the puberty blockers.
But that again, you can't come down to one single right answer for this.
Yeah, you can.
But
Why can't you?
Because I think it's really hard to say that what a parent truly believes, that they're doing the right thing for their child with the resources they do or don't have access to. Why are we being so serious?
Oh, this is good though.
I think it's really hard to come down on a parent, and I'm not saying you are, but to come down on parents who are doing the absolute best they can do with the purest of heart, with the resources that they can access. And if it means that decision gets reversed later, then it gets reversed later. I mean, how many reverse vasectomies have we had? Well, not me personally, but the world's had. So,
I'd like a reverse circumcision.
Way too much information. Okay. All right. Here we go. Let's sanitize that one.
Let's just have that one. We can't even blank this out because it's just gone live.
Yes.
No, but look, if you need to bring this up. If you want to make a call, where's the number? There's what's on your mind. Dial by location. There's the numbers there. Or if you're on Skype, you can just simply type in 476-631-8505 with the passcode of the devil's number. Give us a call. We'll take your call. And if you want to ask Sally anything about anything, more so in the leadership field, because I'm still...
I'll go with anything. I'll make something up.
But I'm still stuck on the whole leadership thing because at what stage do you believe that you go from childhood to adolescence to an adult and then you go, this is my field? What happened that makes you think... No, seriously, what happens... Like for me, for example, I worked in an organisation. I worked for Southern Pacific Hotel Corporation. I was the HR manager at Daydream Island, and I just saw how bad they treated customers. And I thought, this is really horrible. I need to go into business myself. And of course, I don't know why I start de-escalating conversations, but that's what happens. So there was a pinnacle, or there was probably a defining moment of my life that I just went, this sucks. This is bad. You're teaching people the wrong way.
Yeah.
We need better education.
Yeah.
What happened in your world?
It was when I was the CEO of Duke of Edinburgh's Award, and that program in our state here in Queensland, Australia, it sits inside a government department. So I had three bosses. So I had the chairman of the board, I had a couple of public servants above me, and then I also had the minister.
Wow.
And so the beginning of the end was being told that I only have one client and only have one stakeholder. And being the CEO of a youth organisation, I don't have, in my ethos and my belief was that I had many stakeholders. I had the amazing volunteers out running the program, and then the young people participating in the program. But to be told that I had one stakeholder was the beginning of the end.
So it was performance managing.
No, do you know who the stakeholder was? I was told I had
Go on.
the minister. Yep.
Oh, okay.
That was the beginning of the end of me being ever a public servant.
Yeah.
He is not my stakeholder, or she, but it was a him at the time. No way, hell for leather, is that person ever going to be my stakeholder. Yes, I have to report to via the ranks, but the young people and the volunteers were who I'm serving. So that really ticked me off. And then the second part to that was finding out that there were certain things done through our database prior to me stepping into the CEO role that were not entirely above board. To the length that I understand that certain communications would go out to the parents of young people who had passed away. Things were not right.
Yeah.
And when I stepped into the role, and someone came up to me and said, "Now that you're here, can we fix the database?" That sort of says something, doesn't it? And so there was that was the beginning of some wholesale necessary change, which was great, and it needed it, but it also uncovered a whole lot of stuff, and it made certain behaviours come out of the woodwork that I was not going to tolerate. It was just... It was untenable, and that was my second burnout, and that was the end of being a public servant.
That's good.
Yeah.
So it's good that you make decisions based on information that you have. You got the data, you collected the data, and went, this isn't good for me, I'm out.
You got to do, and that's it for every leader. You're never going to have all the information you want at any one time. You're pretty lucky if you do, but let's face it, if we operate on a premise that we're never going to have all of it that we want, you've got to then step it back and go, okay, let me make the best decision I can with what I've got. And I looked at what was around and what was happening. I wasn't happy with it. And I wasn't happy with how some certain leaders internally were behaving and treating the program, the role. I didn't really care that much about myself, but I knew that the role was being significantly disrespected. So it's time to go. So I was the clean-up CEO. Which is fine, because it needed it, and that's good.
Yeah, that's good.
It's a brilliant program. The Duke of Edinburgh's Award is an amazing program. I'll never speak negatively of it.
So I have a problem.
Brace yourselves, folks. Here we go. Another one.
No, seriously, I have a problem.
You always have a problem, Mr. Provocateur.
No, I'm a procrastinator.
Okay.
I won't call a serial procrastinator, but I'm a psychopathic procrastinator.
Oh, this is fresh.
Yeah. Is it I enjoy procrastinating.
Okay.
So, but your big thing, you got a great thing. I looked at your stuff, and I went, I must have a look at your stuff. Stalker. Yeah, there is. I'll call you 2,900 times. A story I did yesterday. There was a woman who called her ex 2,900 times.
Oh, well, you got to have a hobby.
No, but how do I get out of this procrastination cycle? I am, because after I finish this, we'll have a bit of a chat. We'll eat our waffle. We'll go outside. I'll kick you down the stairs. You'll get into your car and you drive away. And then I'll say to myself,
send help now. Send help now.
SOS. You got to have a button. There's got to be a help button.
Yeah, he's only giving me yes or no.
We didn't even come up with a safe word, did we? There's no safe word. Like no.
Nine.
No, but how do I get out of the... Because I could quite easily finish here and then I can lay on the couch for like 9 hours.
But you've already answered the question.
What?
You said I enjoy it.
Yeah, but it's not good. It's not good for me.
Well, until you find another thing to replace the enjoyment you get, you're not going to stop. It's like dogs.
Say it again. So
until you find something else or whatever you're doing becomes unenjoyable, whatever the real word for that is. Too much whiskey, or you replace that enjoyment with something else that's more enjoyable, you're going to continue doing it. It's like the dog will just sit on the thumbtack until the thumbtack is that sharp
What
and
dog
that
sits
painful.
on a thumbtack?
Oh, well, dogs with thick hair and skin. So until it becomes that painful.
Until it becomes unbearable.
Because we all move away from pain or towards joy.
But this is painful.
Is it?
It is. It's actually painful.
He says with a grin on his face.
No, if I can be, I like to be serious every now and then. But I do. And even your friends know. Your friends are the same as my friends, somehow. I don't know what.
Sorry, friends.
Sorry, friends.
You're really not.
But I'm thinking I'm a couch layer. I just will lay on the couch and I'll tell you, when I get up is when my skin has fused to the couch and it's weeping. And
ladies, call now.
it's very attractive, isn't it?
It's disgusting.
But how? But give me something like I've had David Connerini who sat on the couch and he says you just got to have a focus for something. You've got to say, right, today I'm going to set a goal and I'm going to get up and I'm going to go for a walk.
You've got to find out what your procrastination is actually really about. Now, you're being flippant and saying you're a psycho something,
whatever.
procrastinator.
Yeah.
What's it really about? Is it the fear of success, the fear of failure, the boredom? There's different types of procrastination and we all are prone to procrastination, which is a nice umbrella term.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to come down to asking yourself, what's it actually about?
Yeah.
Is it a fear of success, a fear of failure, boredom, resentment, and all the others that I can't think of now? But that's what you got to dig into. Onion layer that little sucker to get to.
I like that. What's the onion?
Pull
Peel
off the onion layers.
And what does that do? Makes you cry?
Well, hopefully. No.
What's the onion? What's the onion layer?
To pull off the onion layers. We call it procrastination.
Yeah.
So pull that layer off. What's the procrastination about? Pull that onion layer off. Well, what's that about? Pull the next layer off. What's that about? And then
the 5 whys.
You can go that way, yeah.
Rudy,
really,
why, Rudy, did you have me?
Yes. That's my question for
So pull back. Okay, why am I procrastinating? Is because I don't have a goal. Why don't you have a goal? Because I don't have a passion. Why don't you have a passion? He's just pulling back the layers.
That can be it, yeah. Sounds good.
Okay.
Sounds good.
So then what if my other enjoyment is just drinking whiskey all day? Could I then do that?
You're in charge of yourself.
Well, it's destructive, isn't it?
Is it?
Oh, it's not. It might not be.
I didn't give you permission. I'm just asking the questions.
I like that. You're
Why am I sitting on a sofa and yet I feel like I'm analysing you?
No, this is good. Because I need conversations like this because sometimes, here's my thing. Sometimes you need... Get up, mate.
Yes, you do. Yes.
Get up and go for a walk.
That's accountability, yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Look at you. You're fused to the couch.
Look at yourself. Take a good hard look at yourself.
Look at me. So look at yourself. You're turning into a whiskey drinking bum. Get up and do something positive for your life.
Yes.
Oh, maybe I need one of those.
Maybe.
Because I'm not good at the, are you feeling okay? Do you want a goal?
No, that's not you.
No, that's not me.
That's too fluffy for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, and this is a really good thing that also we don't often know what type of accountability or support we need. And that's when I talk to a lot of leaders about this when they think they follow up with their people. And I often say to them, you know what? Stop trying to predict. You don't have a crystal ball. Stop trying to predict how others want the help. Ask them how they want help. And one of the biggest questions I get managers to ask their people is, how would you like me to help you stay accountable to what you want to do? What
if I said, leave me alone?
Then I'd have to say, why would you want to be left alone?
Because I don't like you micromanaging.
Okay, so what would support from me that isn't micromanaging look like for you?
Stay away.
Okay.
No, I'm being honest.
Yeah, and I'm going to keep... We're going down this road.
Go down the road. Okay. I just need you to stay away because every time you interrupt me and look over my shoulder, I'm being less and less effective.
So how often am I doing it now that's actually making that happen for you?
One too many times.
Tell me a bit more specifically about that.
Yesterday when you came around, you looked over my shoulder and said, Gerald, where are you up to on this report here?
Okay.
And I didn't... And you said to me at the beginning, when you finish the report, hand it in and then we can go over it. And so I took that as gospel. Okay. But now you're looking over my shoulder and you're telling me how far have I gone on this report.
So I've been inconsistent. So thank you for picking that up. Appreciate the feedback. I will be more consistent. When I say something, I'll stick to it. Will that work for you?
That works for me.
High five.
That's good. I like that. Wow, that is really good.
Yeah.
Why can't people learn like that?
Because a lot of junior staff are afraid to give that. You in that little role play, you're junior to me, right? And you were giving a senior person feedback.
How they don't often do that. Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's not always an easy thing to do. Whereas,
Yeah.
you know, if we've got managers and leaders out there who are prepared to actually get that feedback and listen,
Do you think
that old
it's
chestnut.
listening? Yeah. Do you think it's a good idea that managers and leaders go down the path of saying, what is it about me that annoys you? Is that a
Only
good
if
question?
they're prepared to actually hear it.
Yes.
And it's done in a very mutually respectful way.
Yeah.
There's got to be ground rules to that.
Yeah.
And I think if you've ever seen The Office, the American version of The Office show.
Steve Carell.
Yeah, with Steve Carell and that mob. Can you imagine if that happened? Like, it's like there was an episode on the roast.
Yeah,
You know,
yes.
it just went hell, right?
Yes.
And we know that. That's comedy. But if you've actually got really respectful, open relationships and a good relationship with your boss, and your boss says, all right, I need some feedback. What do I do that annoys you?
Right.
And you do it privately, there's permission granted, and you know that the junior person, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but understand.
Yeah.
The junior person says, when you step over my shoulder, even though you said come see me at the end, but you still came in and it felt like micromanaging, that really ticks me off because it breaks up my thinking and I feel like I'm doing something wrong. You know, that's a really, really good conversation.
Yeah.
To me, there's nothing negative in that.
I like that.
That's just highlighting maybe a blind spot that the manager has.
But that is, I would say, the manager taking accountability for their position. What if the reverse happens, right? What if I'm one of these guys that goes around with all the other staff members and I whisper in their ear and I go, you know, bloody Sally, she's always hovering over the top of me. And they go, well, talk to her about it. I go, I'm not going to talk to her because I'm afraid that she might, I don't know, she'll performance manage me out. Right. And they go, well, if you've got an issue, talk to her. So now, let's just say this. You've not asked for it, but I'm a junior staff member. I'm 20, 25 years of age, but I've had enough. I've had enough of you hovering over the top of me. So I go up and go, hey, Mrs. Foley Lewis.
No, Mrs. Armstrong, the Olympic swimmer.
Mrs. Armstrong, the Olympic swimmer. And I go, hey, Sally. I don't know what they would call you. Hey, manager, whatever. Hey, Sally.
Sorry? If
I'd
it's
call
me,
you Sally.
you call you something. You call me Sally.
I go, hey, Sally, have you got 5 minutes we can have a chat? And you go, yeah, sure. And I go, look, this has been playing on my mind for a really long time. Are you up for some feedback? Is that the way that I approach it? Like, are you up for some feedback? Or I want to tell you about how I'm feeling. See, this whole word about feeling now. I'm feeling disrespected. I'm feeling micromanaged. So I go to you and I say, look, this has been playing on my mind for a very long time. I really get annoyed when you hover over the top of me. It makes me feel like I can't do my work.
Yeah, you could go down that track. But I would say to the junior person, think about their manager and their style. Because you want to speak to the style of the manager.
Yeah.
You know, you want to think about that just for a little bit. So it could be something like, I'm feeling X, or can I clarify something with you?
Oh, I like that.
So this might be a more neutral way about it, where you say, this is my perception of the situation.
Yeah.
You said, when we talked about this project, do it. Then when you finished it, we'll go through it and check it.
Yeah.
But then I hadn't finished it and you came and asked me where I was at with it. And I kind of got a little confused as to whether that was, are you checking up on me? Is it not done yet? I may have misinterpreted. You know, you've got to own your perception of that interchange.
Yeah.
So can I just clarify what that was about first and foremost? And then whatever the manager tells you. See, the manager might just go, oh no, I just really want to just say good day, how you going?
Right.
I didn't mean to do that to you. So I'm sorry that was how that was that came across. That's not what I meant. Or it could be, yes, well, I want to know where you're at. You never know. It depends on the manager. Well, then you've got that opportunity to go, okay, I've misinterpreted. I just wanted to get on with it, and that's what I thought. So thank you for clarifying. Or if it's the other one where you got the hell manager that goes, yes, I want to know where it was at, then you can say, okay, well, to me, it's a mixed message. I'm cracking on. I'm going as fast as I can. I'm trying to be as efficient as I can. Can we stick to what we agreed? And that is, when I'm done, I will bring it to you. I promise you. I'm not mucking around. Is that okay?
Wow.
What I would say, you know, people have to find their own language, and none of this is always going to be easy either. So, but also you have a choice. Do you put up with it or not?
I like the choices part, and I got a comment that came through here back on procrastination. Teresa says procrastination is either fear of failure and success.
Yeah, you can
Failure
have both.
and success.
Yeah, I think you can have both. There's a whole range of them. There's resentment, there's boredom, there's confusion, there's overwhelm, fear of failure, fear of success, and it can come. I totally agree, depending on the context and the situation. Yeah.
Brewed in 62. I love that. I was demoted for telling the truth. Woolworth was absorbing its standalone division in the next 5 years. My VP came to me and said, I can't tell people the truth.
That's the culture of the organisation showing up, isn't it?
So, but doesn't that tell you a lot about, okay, that's the culture of the organisation. You know, the VP comes up and says, you can't be going telling the truth, man. So then he gets, what is it? He gets dismissed or demoted?
Demoted.
I mean, so what do you do in that case there? So here we are, you know, you're saying maybe a good idea is I have to learn to know what the style of the manager is. So in this way here, the manager's an arrogant ass or the VP's an arrogant ass. Maybe what I should do is just steer clear and just do my job and not do anything. Is that what you're saying?
Maybe.
Oh.
I don't know the situation, and so maybe, you know. Or do you go around and above? I don't know, because I don't know the whole context of the situation. You know, but there will come a point where if you've gone through your entire toolkit and it's still a horrible situation, it's time to go.
It's time to leave, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, leaving is a viable solution.
Yeah.
But you've got to make that decision for yourself. I got to the point of being incredibly sick. I actually had an ultimatum put to me. It's either me or the job.
Wow. Yeah.
I chose the right thing, right?
Yeah.
But that was where it was. That's how bad it got to.
Yeah.
I was going to lose the love of my life if I'd stayed in that job.
Do you think that's the reason why a lot of younger people are now doing this? Have you heard the term quiet quitting?
Yes.
So in actual fact, what it is that they're not quiet quitting. They're just noticing that their job starts at 9, finishes at 5, and they're just finishing at 5. They're not making a big deal of it. They're just walking out the door at 5. But here in Australia, very different to overseas countries. Here in Australia, we go beyond. You know, we always stay another 15, 20 minutes, don't we? We take our work home.
We traditionally are work hard, play hard, and that's a badge of honour, which is not necessarily a healthy badge.
Let's have a look at this comment here. This is from Linda Hunter. It says, I worked in disability service and whistleblowers are not valued. As soon as the problem is resolved, they are moved on. Sideways, never up.
Oh, that's not just disability services.
No, that's
common.
That's common, is it?
Yeah.
So we don't like what you're saying. We don't want you to...
Don't rock the boat.
Don't rock the boat.
Don't rock the boat, because if you rock the boat and people know that you've rocked the boat to me, then I have to do something about it.
So it seems like with all these comments that are coming up here, and I'm reading a lot of them, you know, Altair the Force says at Ian, so they had a discussion, and at Ian, it's also covering, you know, it's CYA, it's covering your ass, it's covering your backside. Bearcat says you start 10 minutes... What is it? Start 10 minutes late, leave 10 minutes early, and take an hour for lunch.
Oh, good for you if you can.
No, not if you can do that. But I guess if you're in the leadership space, you must hear a lot of these stories. Or are people too afraid to say something because maybe their manager and leader is sitting in another chair opposite, or they're going to get some feedback that, hey, one of the guys in the session actually made mention about how toxic the organisation is. Like, is that not a... Like, you hear the stories. Come on, I hear the stories. You know, lunchtime comes around and people want to have a chat and, hey, Gerald, how you going? Yeah, good, mate. Can I have 5 minutes with you? And they start in your ear.
Yeah.
And what do you say to them? Like, what do you say to that person who's in pain? They're going, I need help. My manager won't listen. The organisation's toxic. And I know it could be a lot better. What do I do?
The first thing that comes to my mind is I am thinking about how can I empower this person to take action themselves. And if if that can't happen, then it's about, well, who can you talk to within the organisation that will actually take this seriously? You know, do you escalate it?
Yeah.
You know, at the risk. And sometimes, you know, I've got a very, very dear friend who finally, after years of a toxic organisation, finally called bullying on a leader, well, actually on a manager, I'm not going to call them a leader, no, on a person.
Okay.
So they weren't even a manager or a leader, on a person. And And it wasn't until she called it and called it loud enough that everyone else then tumbled out and said, yeah, there's all this bullying. So someone has to go first.
Yes.
Now, she's no longer at that organisation. She didn't get demoted. She didn't get, booted. But she certainly was given a whole lot of hell.
Okay.
But she went first.
Yep.
To me, she's probably one of the most courageous people I know, the strongest people I know. And she was the one that went first. So sometimes you're the one that goes first. Sometimes if you don't have it in you, then you're the first person to leave.
Yeah.
And that's your choice.
That's
Either
your
way,
choice.
you've got to make that decision for yourself. But
Okay.
when people come to me with those sorts of things, the first thing that goes through my mind is and everyone's situation is slightly different, but it's what is it that I could do to help empower this person to be able to handle this?
I think some people fear that, they want to leave. I know if a person had a choice to leave and they went to another position that's similar to what they have now with a better environment, they would leave in a heartbeat. But the problem is that people don't leave because they're handcuffed. They're handcuffed to the desk.
They believe they're handcuffed to the desk. There's always choice. It's just you don't you just don't like what's in front of you.
Yeah.
Because either you haven't looked beyond and done a bit more research, or you just don't like what the choices are.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that's great. I'm just saying, that sucks. Those are the choices. But right now, you either live and stay in what you're in, or you go to the others.
Let's have a look at this comment here. Herbert Scranton III. G'day, mate. How you going? Just try military leadership. Sometimes you have to do as I say, and sometimes you have time to listen and get good feedback. Do you think that's another choice? You just suck it up, mate. You're working for this organisation now. You do as you're told.
Well, command and control.
Yeah.
That's what that was. And I don't know. I think there's a few pockets in different elements of the Australian Defence Forces that are actually exploring alternatives to command and control. I've got a mate of mine who is working with one small group looking at how they can bring coaching into the leadership element rather than a command control. So, but again, why is it command and control?
Yeah, but why? Why?
Well,
because do you think it's all about power?
No, I don't actually think it's about power. I think it's about safety and precision, and you're fighting an enemy, and I think that's where that's come from. Again, I'm no military expert. This is just me looking from the outside in.
Yeah,
I think it was there to serve a purpose, and they did the best they could with what they had at the time, and of course that gets entrenched. Like in any organisation, these sorts of styles and approaches can get entrenched. Whether it's right or wrong, it's there.
Have a look at this comment here. Brood says, that is why in Canada, pension plans had to be fully vested after 2 years and portable. It was due to people losing pensions due to promotions beyond their mental or managerial capacity. Very different in Canada, I think, to what we have here. What is then, here's a tough one for you. Oh my God, it's 10 o'clock. Wow. That's a good whiskey, hey? You have to enjoy that. So, okay, I've got a tough one for you. No. What is the future of leadership?
Ooh.
What's going to happen in 10 years' time?
I think it's going to be very interesting. I don't think it's going to move as fast as what we talk about it being able to move when we think about leadership, because I think there's going to be the human element of not wanting to let go of control. I think we're still going to have... Oh, that whiskey's now... I'll just say anything there. It's the future's yours, kids.
It is.
I don't think there's going to be that much change, because we do like to hold on to our sense of power. We all do as humans. We all like a certain level of power. But I think one of the silver linings of COVID, for example, was this bringing back to this human-centric approach. And I think if we don't hopefully lose that, then, that great resignation that we've been all talking about and listening and hearing about, reminding leaders, and I mean true leaders, not just people who hold positions who aren't leaders, but true leaders who are doing their absolute best to put the human at the center of the decision making, because they actually get that it's the humans that are making the business happen, then I think we're going to be okay. But we don't know what's coming.
No.
We didn't see this pandemic coming, so who knows?
Yeah. What about AI? Yeah, it's good, isn't it? It's good. Have some water. I didn't get you any.
No, I'll have some coffee.
Have some coffee.
Yeah.
What about AI? You know, the artificial intelligence. Do you think we'll get to a stage where we're going to have so many of that, like Elon Musk is talking about neurotransmitters and, you know, Neuralink. Do you think it's going to get to a stage where we're just going to be, I don't know.
Terminators?
Probably.
Was that Skylink or whatever it's called in the movie?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a little part of me that goes, yes, we're going to go down that road,
Yeah.
but that's probably more akin to watching too many of those movies. I don't know. I mean,
It's hard, isn't it?
Dick Tracy, you know, do you remember Dick Tracy? And
Yeah,
how we've got
with
these
the-
Apple Watches.
with the watch.
So, you know, I'm not a futurist. I'm just not a futurist. I think AI has got a place. It's absolutely got a place, but it worries me how of what human elements it will replace. That's what worries me.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's hard, isn't it, when you go into the deeper stuff, like what's going to happen in future and what's going to happen. Folks, if you want to, last chance before we shut the lines down, but if you want to make a call, don't forget, here is the number. I'll put that up again. It's ask Sally any question about anything, any leadership thing. You're good on that.
Go anywhere.
You can go anywhere, and there the numbers there. Meeting
Even my swimming career.
even your swimming career.
Yeah, so we're getting a pool built starting on Sunday. So,
In fact, you were telling me that before you came here, you got a fireplace put
yeah,
into
we
your
got
house.
winter and summer
We
sorted.
live in Queensland here.
I know.
How cold does it get? It was 16 degrees today.
No, it's not. It was.
It was.
It was a bit chilly last night.
Was it?
Where I live, it's cold. I live further out towards the mountains than you.
Oh, do you?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was
Mountains.
very windy.
Don't you love it when
I
Australians
know.
say
Okay,
mountains?
hills. Okay.
Mountains.
On a global scale, they're just molehills.
So are we talking about Everest? Mount Kinabalu? No, we're talking about Mount Gravatt.
No, we're talking about Camp Mountain and Mount Nebo and Mount Glorious.
Oh, yeah, they are.
The Great Dividing Range.
The Great Dividing Range, yeah.
Yeah, look it up,
beautiful out
folks.
there.
That's our mountains.
So give me a word of inspiration. Give me something that I'm going to leave here with that I'm going to go, wow, that was profound. And Sally Armstrong, the Olympic swimmer, gave me that.
I've just had a glass of whiskey.
And that's
you
why
want
the
inspiration?
juices should be running. Your mental juices should be like, wow, do I have so many fabulous ideas.
Be bolder.
Be bolder. Be bolder. What does that mean? I don't know what that means. Be bolder.
I don't want to define it for anyone, but I think one of the things that's been coming up a lot with all the leaders I've been working with is that they need to be bolder and be bolder earlier. Stop waiting. Permission granted.
Oh.
Get the hell on with it.
Oh, wow.
Because,
ouch.
and the reason why I'm saying that is because most people, 98 to 99% of the population want to do a good job. They want to do well. They want to achieve. They want to have a sense of achievement. They feel like they want to contribute. Well, they're not going to do things deliberately to stuff that up. So get on with it.
Get on with it. Yeah, get off your backside and make it happen.
Just get on with it.
Sally, it's been a good hour. Like, we've gone over time. I don't like going over time because you know what it's like. You know what it's like when we go over time and you're at a conference and they're waiting for lunch and you go 5 minutes over time and everyone's now, yep, they've done all that. Yep. And it's not that it's lunchtime here, but people are looking outside going, come on, Tucker Carlson's on.
Who's Tucker Carlson?
Oh, I'm gonna have to introduce you to some real. Mr. Ballon will be one,
Okay.
right? Mr. Ballon, That Chapter is another one. Tom Scott, you have to watch Tom Scott. Obviously, everyone here knows all about these people. And a new one that I'm watching.
I need to get out more.
You need to get out more. You need to watch some really interesting programs. You do. And there's a great program every day on at 9 o'clock Australian Eastern Standard Time. Every single day. It is called Waffles and Whisky. Beautiful. You need to put your headphones on because we're going to do a closing video. Ooh. I think I've got a closing video. And then we're going to have a look at... I think I have a closing video. Let's just have a quick look. And then we're going to play the music out. There we go. Oh, there's no sound on this. But do you know where this is? I bet your Bearcat Racing knows where this is. Do you know where this is? It's in Australia. Have you never been here? You need to get out more, Sally.
Is it on the East Coast?
It is on the East Coast. Oh, and there's the main road there. There's me droning it in. There's the main road there. I just thought, this is pretty.
That's quite a lot of rocks rather than beach.
Yeah, it's rocks. So that is in between Cairns and Port Douglas. If you're doing the Cairns and you're driving to Port Douglas, you will see the Rocks of Inspiration. I think it's what it's called. Something like that. I don't know. I'm making it up.
But it's about focus and being present and mindful.
Apparently. And you can go there and you can build your own rock.
Yeah.
And you can do that.
That's cool.
Anyway, so that's what it's all about. Well, there it is again. I don't know why that's just come back on again. Turn you off. Hang on. But there it is. That's what it looks like. All right, let's hit some music. There we all are. Let's play the shutdown music. Everyone, if you can give Rudy the Big and Sally, thank her for coming on here. And if you, hang on, it's a Talai Beach. What is it? Talai Beach. I'm not sure where that is.
Thalia or Thalia Beach.
Hey, Moore, thank you so much. Cheers, Sally.
Thank you.
Linda says, I love it when people do the rock sculptures at various places.
All hail Rudy.
All hail Rudy. Cheers,
All
mate.
hail Rudy.
Bad for the creatures who hide in the rock.
Guten Tag, Herr Rudy.
Guten Tag.
Ich liebe dich.
Great man. Cheers, everyone. Thank you. Sally Armstrong, the Olympic swimmer. So cute. That's so good. Everyone hears that. Miss Moser, because I was working. We'll watch back later. Good on you, Unboiled Frog.
The Unboiled Frog, I love it. What a great name.
Thank you. Cheers, 2 plus 2 cat.
2 plus 2 cats. Yay.
Here we go. Cacodemomania, the pathological belief that one is inhabited by an evil spirit.
Oh, where's the chocolate?
I think that's me.
Where's the... Well, yeah, they're bang on there, Altair number 4.
Altair.
Altair 4.
Well done. That's clever. Thank you, mate.
And no chocolate.
Yeah, and there's no chocolate, my more mum.
It's more caca than cacao.
Paid attention. Good night, all. Good night, one more mum. Guten Tag, Sir Rudy. Yeah, love it. Love that one.
Thanks, sir.
Thanks, Wiley. Thanks, Squizzy. Great stream and chat. Certainly was. Thank you, members. Who's the last one? We'll give it to Altair. We'll give it to you, mate. Well done. All hail, Sir Rudy. Cheers, G-Mann. Cheers, everyone. Mate, thank you, everyone. Have a great night. We will see you tomorrow at 9 o'clock Australian Eastern Standard Time. Remember, if I'm not on, I'm not on.